So Andy's was wondering how I actually finished my PhD with a learning disability. I actually have attention deficit disorder. That's my thing, right? So I have something that somebody else doesn't have, and I don't think it's a disability in any sort of way. I think it's actually a gift, and I want to talk to you about that. I think it is the gift that you can take and you can turn it around to the rest of the world and you can tell them to stuff it. I think that that is the most important thing that you have. Whatever that thing that you possess that everybody else is saying, oh, that thing is bad, that thing doesn't work out, or that thing is going to hold you back. Man, it just, you gotta use it to your advantage and you really need to push back on it. I look around and I see people that don't have anything and they quit, they stop. They are the ones that are full of crap. Honestly, that's really what it is. They're always the ones that are always weaseling out of things. They've never had to work anything in their life. But when you have something, when you struggle with it and you keep pushing at it, then you really know what you have and you can honor that particular thing. So when I was in grades all the way up until I was about grade 5, I was in special ed. I remember to the day, I remember bouncing on, they used to have yoga balls, but they weren't yoga balls at the time. It was well before the whole yoga thing. And we got to bounce on these balls. And I remember learning cursive in the room. They used to take us out and put us into special ed. I was in a small school, country school in Northern Ontario. There was 80 kids in this school from K to 12. And there was about a dozen of us that was in, maybe a little less than that. It was probably only maybe 3 or 4 people, if I remember now. And I look back, that were in sort of special ed, and that was for, primary grades. And I remember sitting there and working through things, and it was Mrs. McGregor at the time that was doing this. I remember it to the day. And then, this was well before anybody had identified anything like this. And I was in a small town where there was no way that we'd even identify this. This was in the 80s, right? The early 80s. And then I finished all of that. And then all of a sudden I turned around and I was getting good grades. And what I learned through all of this, and in each moment I go in and I go into a certain thing, right? So I go into high school. I struggled in high school for the first little bit. And then I turned it around and I got good grades. And then I was in university, and I was not doing well in my first year at all. So I turned it around and I got good grades. And then I got into my PhD program and I wasn't doing as well as I would like. And I turned it around and I was doing really well after that. And so what was it that turned it around? I told the world, screw you. And I started working on something and pushing at something, and everybody else that was around me, including my family, I love them, but I do remember them questioning, what are you doing? Why are you studying so hard? I remember that in high school. All you do is study. That's all you're doing. That's weird. That's strange. I remember it. I remember it to the T. They're amazing, and I love my family, but at the same time, they didn't get it. They didn't get what I was trying to do and push towards. And when I was in university, I remember being the only kid. Everybody else was partying and going out. I remember coming back. It was my second or third year university, and there's a bunch of guys in this dorm. And I remember I was the only one that would go and study on Saturday nights. And I would come back and they would be, having drinks and, having some beers, and I'd be wandering in. I was just exhausted after that. And I remember sitting there in the library, and coming out of the library, and I was there so much that the librarian told me it's okay to take some time off. There was all sorts of those kind of moments where I just worked and worked and worked and worked. And I told the world, screw you. I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to push towards this. It's like this. right? This whole reciprocity project. Look how many videos I actually have put up now. It's probably 2,500 videos at this moment. I was nobody. Nobody paid attention to it. It was, when I was doing this, it was just a bunch of scammy people doing scammy things on the internet, and a bunch of people going, whoa, all of those YouTubers and doing all of that kind of stuff. Nobody else was doing this except me. I told the world, screw you. And I kept pushing at it. And everybody was pushing at me at my my institution. They were like, what the heck are you doing? Like, I remember all of those kind of things. I know what was happening. And I told the world, screw you. When you have that, I think that is the thing that you gotta stand up. And if you know it's right, it's right. You push after it and you keep doing that particular thing and you keep working at it. So I don't care what kind of disability or stigma or whatever thing that you actually have, whether you've got purple skin or whatever. You take that and you use it to your advantage. You tell the world, I'm freaking awesome. And I'm going to do this thing no matter what you say. So this is my way of actually rebelling. I know that this is really strange and you don't get this. But when I was in high school, I didn't really do the whole rebellion thing. And like all of my siblings did it all. They had various different rebelling things. I didn't. You know why? It's because this is how I'm rebelling. I'm telling the world, you don't dictate the way that I live. I dictate the way that I live, and I'm going to push at this, and I'm going to move the boundaries. And you know what? It's going to take me an awful lot of time, an awful lot of work. It's going to take me a lot more work than everybody else. Everybody else is going to be like, why the heck are you doing that? That is such a waste of time. And I'm going to look at them and I'm going to say, screw you. This is the right thing to do. And it's going to take a lot of courage, and I'm going to keep pushing at it. And I'm going to be the odd man out, the odd person out every single time. I'm going to look really strange. Everybody's going to be looking at me like, what the heck are you doing? But guess what? That's how you do it. You get up and you do that thing, whatever that particular thing is, and you keep pushing at it. If your thing is, I don't know, it's golf or whatever, you get up early and you get going at it and you just keep doing at it over and over and over again. I've seen it over so many times. You don't have to be that good when you start. You don't have to have everything put together when you start. But if you keep working at it and you keep pushing at it, and you're the only one that gets up, and that there's something about that, being the only person that keeps showing up. And you keep showing up and you keep showing up and nobody else is around. And guess what? When you do that over and over and over again, you get better. You do get better. And then eventually everybody's looking at you like, what the heck? What happened? That's when you could tell the world, screw you even more. You weren't there to support me through all of this, but guess what? I did it anyways. That's what you have to do. Even if people are pushing you down, they have labels and all this kind of stuff, you push back. That's it. I'm sorry to say, like, all of those kind of things, whatever the friggin' thing that you have, whatever that thing is, you push back and you push back and you push back and you say, I'm good enough. I'm using this thing to my advantage and I'm going to turn it into something that nobody else ever has. And that's what you do. That's how you finish your PhD with ADD, that you're got the color purple skin, you got whatever it is. You just push back and you keep going. You take those steps. You figure out what works for you. You try all sorts of different things. You try different kinds of combinations of diets. You try different combinations of getting up early, not getting up early, drinking coffee. You do all of those kind of things and you figure out what works for you. And then when it works for you, you just go after it. And you tell the rest of the world, screw you. Give me one of those.